CON, the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency, Senator Barao Jibrin, CFR.
Particularly on a nominee that comes from my state. I am Senator Pamwat Konda Chungyang, representing the glorious people of Plateau North. Though the nominee mistakenly make a wrong pronunciation of my name, I will forgive him because he has come here with a very good anxiety. My name is not Simon Watkon, but my name is Pamwat Konda Chungyang. Sir, this young man, as I know him, to possess a very rich credentials. From a younger age, as the CV portrays, he is a professor of digital systems and an engineer par excellence. If you go through deeply, sir, distinguished colleagues, and look at his CV, his personal data is rich. And in page 2, you look at his consultancy services that cuts across all sectors of life. In page 5, his working experiences showcases that he started from the university and worked as an INEC commissioner. In page 8, his educational qualifications shows that he is a trained and a membership of various disciplines. And in page 9, he has 24 publications in Kitty. In page 12, his referees shows that he's a man of the people. Mr. President, we are very grateful to the President of the Federation to have given Plateau State somebody that will work for the nation. And I'm happy because all of us here, having he spoken, we know that somebody has said something, and the position or the portfolio that has been assigned to, it's a place that requires serious people with serious minds, and he's qualified for this. And I'm asking the colleagues, my colleagues here, to give him an accelerated confirmation so that he can keep the ball rolling while he's been formally confirmed. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we are through with the honors of the minister. We are now going to the fireworks. Is there anybody that has a question for the nominee? That's where it should be. Let's start from the majority party. Let's start from the right-hand side. Let's start from let's start. I'll give an opportunity to all my bosses. Let's start from my first boss. It's Senator Sadiq.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As chair, my distinguished colleagues, I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent Kwara North. Professor Nentawe, well, your CV spoke clearly, and you also represent yourself. And we heard from your head boy, you've been very consistent since you are young. And luckily, I think I've met you too, and I think you are a gentleman, smart, and humble. However, you are going to the humanitarian ministry. As of today, the data is that 40% of Nigerians are living below poverty. And it's also worse than that. When you look at multidimensional poverty index, about 63% are also below that index. Thank God you are an engineer, ICT savvy, but you are aware that for years, subsequent governments have spent billions of naira to alleviate poverty. Billions and billions. The challenge has always been, how will this money get to those intended without getting it lost? Will you tell us how you are going to use your experience to make sure that federal government money that will be under your care in the ministry will get to the people that need it? Thank you.
Okay. So just write down the question. This other one is that it just asks you how the federal government money will reach the most vulnerable and the poorest of the poor in our society. Distinguished Senator Shehu Buba.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing me. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Shehu Buba Umar, representing Bauchi South. Mr. President, I rise to add my own voice on the nominee. Professor Nentawe, I congratulate you as a nominee of Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Mine is not a question per se. I want to make my own contribution, Mr. President, because the nominee, he is coming from Plateau State, Panchim local government to be specific, and we are sharing borders. We are neighbors. My own constituent, Bauchi South, and we have a lot in common. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I know the nominee for over 25 years. He was born in Plateau State, but I can tell you he was brought up in Bauchi State. I know him as a detribalized Nigerian, down to earth, and a very respected personality. I believe, Mr. President, have gotten the right choice for this position. I am standing to support the confirmation of the nominee. I therefore aligned my own position with the position of the distinguished 3 senators from Plateau State, Senator Lalong, Diket Plank, and my brother, Senator Markov, for calling on my distinguished colleagues to fasten the confirmation of this gentleman. I therefore call on my colleagues to support the nominee of Mr. Nentawe. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, the distinguished Senator Shehu Buba Omar, I actually wanted us to go into questions. So if anybody has no question, there will be no need to speak. Distinguished Senator Ndume, you may wish to ask your question.
On the microphone, right? Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, and the nominee, I would want to start by congratulating you. You are I think, the 3rd minister to be nominated. The first one was a lady. The second one also was a lady. And as far as it is now, your ministry is the most important, because 70% or 60% of Nigerians are living below poverty level. And the federal government deliberately have been making effort, allocating huge sums of money to address the humanitarian crisis. And you are also coming at a time when the whole world, organizations that are in charge of humanitarian issues are concerned about the escalating humanitarian crisis in the country. And this is not because the government is not doing anything, but because it is not getting down to those that are affected. You know the circumstance that led to the relief of your predecessor. My question now is, as the first man to be appointed to that ministry, what will you do as a case of emergency to make sure that the humanitarian crisis we are seeing, we are facing, we are likely to face more, should be done? Unfortunately, you are ICT persons. Today's world, if we are serious, or let me say you are serious, we can start seeing the impact when you settle down. So how do you intend to do that? That will give us a lot of comfort if we get a good answer from you. Thank you, Mr. President.
The nominee, you may attempt to answer before we go to this side.
Mr. President. Let me start with a question from Senator Sadiq Suleiman from Kwara. He asks, how will this money being voted by the Senate, the National Assembly generally, we get to the vulnerable group across the country? Let me start this way. After my appointment, I received calls from several people, and everybody that called me keep on showing the concern that with this level of poverty, and also with a new framework in the economic conditions of the country, the reforms that we're having, they keep on asking me, can you resolve the issue of poverty across the country? And I said, the issue of poverty reduction is a wholesome challenge that involves almost everybody, from National Assembly to several agencies, government, the agencies, private sector, development partners, and other people that will be involved. But this is what I will do that maybe we can add a little bit of impetus to the fight. I know that already there are steps that have been taken by government, and there are also steps that are taken by the ministry in streamlining and ensuring they have a register of poor people. That's the data. And once you want to address any issue in the 21st century, the first thing you do